I really wanted to do a demo video for how to do vector lines, just in case we go by too fast in class or you just happen to miss the lesson. I wanted to have a good record of how to do this on Canvas. So this video might be a little bit longer than most of my normal videos just because I'm going to be drawing stuff. And also, my dog is currently chewing a bone. She can be kind of loud, so hopefully the microphone doesn't pick that up. So I apologize if it does. So I kind of pre-doodled this little sketch. I love using this as an example for vector lines. I think it's just like a really good, just a good sample of like why this is a useful thing. So typically, bear with me here. Typically, if we're going to be inking this, so we'll turn the opacity down so you can see, make a new layer, we'll call it inks. So typically, I would grab a black color and maybe I would start, I would want to be a bit more careful than I would like my sketch here. I'd kind of want to do this, kind of trace along my like outline. This is how I would typically do it. Like so. Maybe I'd do this. I would draw the handle here, the hilts first, so that way I know it's a straight line. I'd grab my pen. Right now I'm using the mapping pen, something like this. Just do it really, doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a demo. So, and then I would draw this hand grabbing the sword. And the reason I would sketch it like this, at least in the sketch, would be so I can make sure, yes, it's straight. Now I could just draw the hand first and then kind of draw these lines like so around it. But the reason why I'm doing this is to show you why vectors are cool. So here's my little hand, and ta-da. This is how I used to draw, just like this. Now, if I were to hide my sketch, I'd be like, okay, time to clean it up. So I would grab my eraser or something like that, and I would go in like this, and I'd try to clean up all these little oopsie doodles I did, like so. So I'm not going to go through all of it. You kind of get the idea of how I would kind of go in and start cleaning up some of my lines, because there's lots of overlapping bits to this. So I'm going to now redraw this as a vector layer. So I'm just going to hide these inks, and I'm going to make sure my sketch is there, because I'm going to do it again. So instead of creating a new layer like I typically do with that little post-it note looking icon, I'm going to go to the one next to it. It looks like the same icon, but there's a little like 3D box inside. That is a vector layer. If for some reason you don't see that, I want you to do this. I want you to just make a new layer. Then I want you to like right click, and I want you to go to convert layer, and then you're going to choose vector layer. So once I do that, if it's a vector layer, there should be this little icon of like a 3D box next to it. So you should have a shortcut kind of next to, in between your new layer and your new folder icon. It should be there, but if not, just do the way I just showed you. Okay, so now we got a vector layer. Now let's do the same thing. We're going to redraw it. I'm going to grab my line tool here, and I'm just going to go all the way through like so. And I'm even going to be sloppy about it. I'm going to kind of do like overlapping bits, because for a vector it's kind of almost nicer if we have some overlapping. Kind of actually makes it easier for us to clean it up. So let's do that. Let's grab our mapping pen tool, or brush or pen or whatever, mapping pen. And then it looks very much the same as before so far. I'm going to draw this, draw the fingers. If you make an oopsies, it's okay, we can fix it. And then let's draw a shape here. And oops, that was an oopsies. And then let's do this. And doot. So you'll notice I was a bit sloppier on this version, because I'm going to show you why. Because we're going to hide our line art or sketch, and now we're left with this. Now it looks horrible right now, but there is a tool called a vector eraser. So there's eraser, and then inside there's different ones. You're going to find that there's a vector eraser as one of these. I just have it as a shortcut here because I use it so often. So using the vector eraser, I'm going to just simply click and drag, and it's going to instantly erase these overlapping parts I don't want. This is why overlapping is easier, because if there's not an overlap, it doesn't know when to stop erasing. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go through and kind of erase. I can kind of drag and just erase all these lines in one go. And same for up here. And ta-da! So that's how we kind of quickly cleaned up these lines. So that's why vector is really cool. It just makes it, it looks the same as drawing it just with our normal inks. So if you look at it side by side, it's generally going to look, you wouldn't be able to really look at them and know which one is vector, which one's not. This is just kind of why I love doing vector. Now, something to keep in mind for later, vector tools, you can draw vector like any color you want. So I can draw in pink, I can draw in orange, whatever I can draw, but you can't really color in this. So if I were to try to do like a paint bucket, I'm just going to get this, like, no, you cannot paint bucket. So if you want to edit your lines, this is what I would do. I would always duplicate it and just kind of leave it safe and sound, just kind of hide it away. And then we're going to right click this, and then we're going to change it, convert layer, exactly how I showed you before, but we're going to change it to raster. So you're going to say, okay. And now I can easily kind of change this and change the colors and stuff like that, like we're going to be doing later. Because for whatever reason, yeah, see, like I'm painting over there. For some reason, while it's a vector, it doesn't let you do these kinds of things to it. If I went back and tried to like change the color, I can't even, you'll notice here on this one, I can't, sorry, I'm on the iPad, so, but you'll see I'm clicking on and off this lock transparent pixel tools, which we're going to be talking about in a minute. Whereas on the vector layer, I don't even have that as an option. It's kind of blacked out for me. So I draw all my things using vector now, and I just convert it to the raster layer when I'm ready. And it works especially well for comic panels. So there's like a quick example here. Like here's like pretend comic panels right here. Like so. Just make believe. And then I'll just go use my vector eraser, and I'll just kind of quickly clean up my borders. And we have other settings for, yeah, it's because it's not overlapping all the way. So there are actually panel border tools we're going to talk about in a future week. But this is how I like to do it because I just feel like I have more control over it. So I hope I've fully explained why I think vector layers are great. And I really hope you have a chance to play around with them yourself.